Hello. Hello.
Don't make me send you to Jesus myself.
Hello.
Okay, that's it. I'm gonna spit in your mouth.
Nice. All right. Well, I've muted on my side at the very least. And then I'm going to go and unmute the comms channel. Alrighty. Dink. Donk. And then we'll just over here.
Look at all of these party hat wearing weirdos.
Look at them. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Blue, for being the first one here.
Hello.
Finally, like, utilizing my first redeem when you're here. I think, was this your first time using the first redeem? Let me see. Yeah, it was. It was your first time utilizing the first redeem. So, yeah. Let's see, we got...
hi, everyone. I went straight to my gaming scene because my idle side doesn't, you know, have anyone else on it.
What do you mean your idle side doesn't have anyone else on it? Hey!
No.
Who stole my shirt?
Well,
God damn it, Vol.
Well, everyone, this is gonna be a bit of a funny thing, right? Okay, I'm gonna zoom in on myself for this little bit of revelation. Zeebs didn't even know it was his affiliate anniversary today, alright? He legit did not know. And that was hilarious.
Like, they only tell you when it's like 2 days before, 2 days before the actual event, and I wasn't bothering with, like, every single, like... I wasn't gonna bother with every single notification. Hang on, let me just...
No, don't redeem that! Oh, great. Really? Really? We're doing this now? Freaking...
Getting nommed?
Yeah, swap me to this PNG tuber now.
Vor enthusiast over here.
Gets turned into... Vor enthusiast.
You got cupcake, you got banana, you've got, like, candy, you got ice cream, you get nommed by, like, your character
what
here.
Candy?
I don't know.
What candy are you on about?
I think you have one, maybe.
I don't have candy.
Well, point it... Oh, sorry, one out of, like, you know, half a dozen of food-related stuff you getting bitten or eaten.
That's the truth they enjoy. Freaking you and your freaking propaganda. Freaking, you can shout out to Carrie. They stream, by the way. You can shout them out.
To who, sorry?
Freaking to Carrie Gaming.
Oh, okay.
I know they stream. Yeah, get shouted out.
Get shouted out on my side as well. So...
That's right. Pretty princess. Freaking Artemis just comes to my streams just to put me in the freaking princess outfit.
Well, yeah.
Well, as in your case, it freaking strips you of your shirt.
Yeah, no, well, okay, to be fair, Vol did that to me, but yes, Artemis normally does that as well, so there is always that. So, but yeah. No, stream streak resetted itself. Pretty sure I did rewatch some of the last stream, though. Who knows? Like, I streamed back on Sunday morning, and then there was Friday evening, so, like, you had, like, a pretty tight window, I would say. Plus, you know, I don't think there was, like, too many clips being done last week and such. I'm running out of clips to start sharing during, like, the off times that I'm not streaming.
Well, I haven't in a few weeks. Work has killed my mood to game. Work is pissing me off, alright? And the only escape is my rainbow bagel
welcome.
Right now. Not currently. I'm not eating a bagel while we play.
I sent you the Whatsamahoozy code via the characters, via the
yes.
Yeah.
I shall apply. Said, what the hell? Okay, that's an interesting one.
The Zitty
interesting
stretched.
Interesting code you got there. So,
bring on the end
as
of
much
the
as I want to
holidays,
do
no
a
return
lot
of
of
what
my
little
crazy
sanity I
banter,
have.
I need to keep some for the stream, alright? I need to keep some juicy information for the stream.
Thank you for the hype.
Can't spoil everything at the beginning.
It. Alright, we're moving on to the thingamadoogies. We're gonna sit on that screen for a little bit, because I like chatting during the opener.
Well,
do you like chatting during the opener?
I always chat during the opener, but because due to the nature of going to my idol scene hides all of the PNG tubes because I initially designed it for just me.
Do I need to like you know, help you out in creating like like just chatting with the DC scene?
Nah, I could easily do it myself. It's something simple. Luckily, I can just hide all of the game stuff and just zoom in, and it just is perfectly fine.
Actually, I should double check in Discord reactive sources, like whether or not there is a means of creating like a custom source where, let's see, so you can do like custom, like, you know, name sizes, you can have names hidden or shown. Okay, but there is no way of so yeah, unless you have premium, you cannot change the image layout unless you have like a premium subscription, which I'm gonna be frank with you, $40 a year for this thing, I'm like meh on. I do like the idea of an API swap. That sounds kind of cool.
It's one of those things of, okay, what the heck is going on here? I need to zoom
Juicy.
out.
Yes,
oh my
yes,
god,
Perry, juicy.
Okay, it's doing that thing again. I need to fix that because I know something's not right.
So no.
Yeah, I was wondering why that was happening. This is, I believe, been an issue for a lot of people that use folders in OBS. For some reason, OBS loves to move your sources about.
Yeah. I highly recommend, instead of using folders, because here's the thing, is that folders, not only will they have their own, like, you know, transformation, like, you know, point of origin and, like, you know, setting of, like, how big or how small, but then each element within the group will have its own, like, you know, transformation, point of origin, and all that. Basically, you're better off setting up a scene, so then that way it's like, right, cool, you have a 16:9 reference, like image or whatever source, and then you put all your elements in the 16:9 canvas, so then that way, like, sure, it limits you to having your objects within a 16:9 or less than aspect ratio, but then, you know, scaling up and scaling down, moving them left and right is a lot better than trying to do with the group. So, like, I have, like, my starting soon and the countdown timer within a group for starting soon, but by God, is that annoying to deal with. It wasn't until I made it so that the group was point of origin centered, the text point of origin centered bottom, and the countdown point of origin centered bottom, all three of them, do I think that it's maybe working as intended and what have you.
Well, I'll tell you this. When it comes to things getting done, okay, just let's double check. Okay, that's been fixed. Okay, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Yep. It's been a thing. Like, we did this before. I'm gonna fix everything when I completely destroy everything and then completely rebuild it from scratch.
Yeah, because I think the way it's so, like, there's OBS profiles, which changes like the actual profile settings. So if you want to like quickly swap from one kind of like Twitch details to another, meanwhile scene collection changes the actual like scenes and elements that you have displaying.
Okay, so
yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so zoom in, zoom out.
So yeah.
Yeah, you're
Hello,
doing this
Joe,
to me
can
again.
think of a name. Welcome.
Because normally the thing is, this background never usually gets seen by people.
What background?
Unless
the nebula. Chad, do we want to watch like Blue, Foxy, and ICIC as they do their thing? Let's watch Blue, Foxy, and ICIC while they're doing their thing.
Okay, that's been fixed. Yeah, it's just one of those things of for some reason it gets. I have no idea. It's something that happens with people, especially if they're trying to get the move thing going. All right, in, out. Yeah, that's fine. That's working fine. I do plan to fix a lot of this later. Right. And everyone, keep freaking saying happy affiliate anniversary to this guy, alright? Keep saying it to him. It's his special day, even though he didn't know it was his special day.
I made no plans whatsoever for the affiliate anniversary. Remember to hydrate everyone? Oh yeah, like I can't just.
Where's my water hose? I'm gonna freaking shoot everyone in the chat with a water hose. We gotta hydrate everyone.
Do that, otherwise you'll get turned into a pretty princess as punishment.
Listen, everyone needs to get hydrated, and usually, back in the day, you would have to drink from the hose if you had no other choice.
Cookie for Vol. Here's your cookie, Vol. Do you have a cookie redeem?
Freaking cookie's your thing.
Ooh.
Instead, I get Nibiru'd. I get freaking Neko Arc and Neko Chaos going off. We got Arno the Pizza Troll going around.
94% fruity. Nice.
And here's the other thing. You have cookies, I have peas. For some reason.
Oh, where's your peas? Hang on a second, though.
What? Well, you gonna freaking give everyone a whole tray of peas?
A whole tray of peas, chat.
I should play that game on stream.
What game is it?
I believe it's Jumpstart First Graders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But freaking who goes to a cafeteria or canteen or whatever it is and orders just a whole tray of peas? But then again, I got freaked out when...
Vegetarians, people that do not like anything on the menu, and peas is the only one they trust. Like, really picky girls.
Wow, Terry, you're 100% fruity. But let's see.
Oh, damn! Congratulations, Terry, on getting 100% fruity.
The closest we had is 100% and 2 of the same fruit. We haven't seen 3 of the same fruit yet.
Ugh.
But someone did hit the 0%.
Oh, that was impressive. Was it
Yeah,
me?
that's... no, I think it was someone else in the chat. I don't know who it was. But 0% is a thing. It's possible. Even I forgot what the message is.
Nice. You know what I think would be kind of cool? I don't know how to program this, so this would be all you. But when they do the fruity check and such like that, if you had like a cool little like web thingamadiggy to like do like a little like gambly, like, you know, the slot machines, how they do like the little like spinnies, there's like and then it finally, like, you know, it goes to the first, the second, and then it goes bloop, 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 and then to the third one.
That's probably going to require some weird coding shenanigans.
Probably, but like, you know, maybe it's one of those cases of like, because I can imagine, because like the one I have for my like himbo thingamadiggy, I just have to provide in the header like what the values are, so it's probably going to be something similar where there will be like some sort of animation that will be, you know, like it will just be like, oh yeah, we'll need to like randomize all the different like emotes that will be on a particular wheel or something like that, but then like, you know, you just need to tell it, oh yeah, wheel 1 needs to stop on this thing, wheel 2 needs to stop on that thing, wheel 3 needs to stop on that thing, and it can just be pointed out within the header to grab that information. Because, well, yeah, I don't have the time to figure that out myself, but you have the time, don't you?
Actually, no, I don't. I actually have time focused on other things. All right, let me go back into this. So, because of projects that I got going on in the background, there's a lot of things I'm currently busy with. Not just IRL things, but there are stream things that I do need to sort out.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's through a choice of my own, so there's nothing else I could really do about that.
Alrighty then. Well, move us over to the gaming screen. So we're all the way back at the What's in the Whoozy home. The bench that we have for everyone is getting mighty full. Did they move this bench back? I feel like it used to be like here, and now it's all the way back
No, the bench was always there. I just destroyed the coffee table in the middle.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm all about furniture violence.
Nice. Alright, well, you know, I just realized you and I have like the same what's the
Yeah, I got Magic Man and Big Tough Lady.
Magic Man and Big Tough Lady. You heard it here, folks. That is their name from now on.
Well, here's the thing. These guys barely hurt us now.
I don't know. Like, I'm getting my shit kicked in trying to, like, you know, do the combat.
but look at your health bar. It's barely moved.
Oh.
Woo! Where am I? Get out of here. So our aim is to go to Zangwakai Tower and raid the Yakuza's base of operations.
All right.
Is there any? If you want to take your time with this, there's technically some side quests that can be done.
Well, apparently there's one like right here, like in this area.
Gyodai wants us to take selfies all over the place, which is the iffy one. I'm getting crumped.
Nah, get crumped.
I believe there was one for, I think, Inoki or something. Just trying to check. What's the news feed saying?
Oh, it wants us to pick up a cat. Hang on a second. There we go. I saved the cat.
Yeah, getting the cats all over the place is gonna be one of those
What are you looking at?
completionist
Need
things.
some help, buddy?
Who the heck did you just talk to?
I have no idea who she is. It's not important. You sure there's a selfie here?
Okay, so according to Gyodai's thing, you're welcome. According to Gyodai's quests, there is a selfie we need to take in Crosstown, there's a selfie we need to take in Downtown, and there's a selfie in Flatirons. We already got 4 out of the 7. But I don't know where that selfie location is. I'm just gonna keep yoing. Hey, yo! Hiya! I am not part of the combo! Get dabbed on.
Well, could it be in the dojo? Oh no, the dojo takes us to a new room, doesn't it?
Yes. So the only thing we could do is check every possible nook and cranny in this place.
There's nothing along
Isaac,
the
I'm
bottom.
currently feeding Lisselle, okay, the daughter of Herschel Layton, Miles Simpson. What the fuck is going on your Tamagotchi Island?
Is that so? Why do Tamagotchi Islands have to have like such craziness? Like someone is just sort of like, ah, yes, Edith the Owl Lady is like, you know, layering on Kiryu Kazuma. It's like, what? Like,
Well, Tamagotchi Life and Tamagotchi Island is the greatest Nintendo shitposting thing they ever made.
and they made it so you cannot, like, you know, share it within the network very easily. And I think it was for this very reason.
Yeah, so here's the thing. On the Tamagotchi Life, which is a 3DS copy, they made that you can share things, but they had to censor a lot, alright? But for Tamagotchi Life, they said, oh, you can do whatever the hell you want, but in exchange, you can't make it shareable. So, to be honest, it's not that bad because people have ways of getting around this. I would say it's an annoyance, but it's not a deal breaker.
Okay.
There is one place in Crosstown that we have not visited at all. Well, I'm currently being harassed. But excuse me. He looks cursed. They changed it so that you can't share censored stuff in local play anymore. You gotta remember that Tamagotchi Life is meant to be a thing where people can do some weird, funny stuff, not all this crazy, uncensored stuff, if you get what I mean. And people are bound to do stupid things. And Nintendo being Nintendo, having to be the kid-friendly alternative to all the other gaming companies, want to keep that image.
Alright.
So yeah, in my opinion, I think it's fine. That, like, it could have been worse. Who's? Like, I have a question for you, Vol. Who is local to you that plays Tamagotchi Life? And if the answer is less than 10, well, I don't know what to say. Okay, your guy spews ice. My guy just shoots poison. Okay, so down, right, up. Down, right, up.
Alright. I'm following blue for this one because, you know, I'm himbo as fuck and I have, like, no following. Or no sense of direction a lot of the times. I don't think he can swim in this game.
Wait a minute.
Are you sure you went the right way?
Oh no, no, there's 2 downs. We need to take the left.
Oh, we need to take the second down. Okay. Alright.
That's fine. Like this is the quest area to talk to Gyodai anyway. We don't need to kill these guys because there's no real reason.
I don't know. I'm willing to give them a few hits, and if we find someone we don't, like, you know, recognize from our little thingy, then, you know, maybe try and recruit them.
Ah yes, I like the idea of recruiting people through delicious ultraviolence.
Oh, yeah, it shows them who's boss. Although when you do that, you can't recruit them.
Well, if only job recruiters did that sort of thing.
I'm glad job recruiters do not have us doing this. I don't think I would want to work for a company that would force me into submission like this.
So now we got. Okay, I already got you as a recruiter. Blah! I can't wait to watch JoJo Part 7. Yeah, Part 7.
Oh yeah, are they finally like releasing an episode? Because I think Netflix was doing like a weird thing where it was just like, ah yes, we'll get you an episode when we get you an episode.
But they're still announcing voice actors and all that. We can Steel Ball Run. Like, I've been hearing the theme for it, the opening theme, and people are just like, oh, the misheard lyrics are insane.
Never. I've read Steel Ball Run. I cannot be bothered watching it.
Steel Ball Run is going to be great because legit, people sped through Stone Ocean just so they could read Steel Ball Run.
Oh my god, why would you do that? They changed the universe. Like, Stone Ocean's our only connection to Jotaro.
Yeah, but at that point, Araki wanted to move away from that storyline because it's pretty much done and dusted. Like, what are you gonna do?
I don't know, go with an entirely different family within the same universe after you rebooted it twice within Stone Ocean? Like, you could have done that. There's no need for. Yes, it did. Yes, no, it did. Did you not read Stone Ocean?
I did. Like, what happened was the universe just basically went exactly the same, except everyone knew exactly what they were going to do, no matter what.
No. Okay, all right, you got it wrong here. All right. So first and foremost, let's get the establishment out of the way. The priest guy has, like, you know, crazy gravity powers after he tries to go through, like, Dio's, like, you know, end game plan with the baby Dio weird offspring thing. And so because of his machinations and such like that, he did a gravity thingamajiggy to accelerate time as, you know, very, very, very fast, and it played into the theorem of, like, oh yeah, like, you know, by the, you know, with the heat death of the universe, there will come, like, a new explosion, and, like, you know, the quote-unquote universe will be, like, born again. Now, because he was technically, like, because of his, like, you know, gravity powers and, like, you know, his stand being bullshit and allowing him to live throughout the entire event, the only, like, unless you were, like, you know, with him or some nonsense, you were not aware of this, you know, accelerated time thing once they did, like, you know, the heat death of the universe and, like, the Big Bang all over again. But because of, I can't remember his name, because of his powers, he's able to dictate, you know, where people are going to be and such, because his power allows him to, like, you know, meddle into fate, because he's able to dictate the thingamajigs and what have you.
No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. So, what Poochie did was he followed Dio's plan to achieve heaven. Dio was originally meant to be the one to gain heaven, but obviously you know what happened in part 3.
Yes, in part 3 he got fucking decimated.
Yeah, he just died. So Poochie went with the plan of turning his stand, freaking White Snake, into Sea Moon, with freaking the green baby that was created through, was I think 37 sinners or something.
Yes, it was in like when they were doing like the weird like survival of the fittest thing in that weird power, and he had like, he was able to get, you know, because that was technically Dio resurrected or some bullshit like that, and using a series of like catchphrases and such that Dio said he indoctrinated. Look, point is, like, that, all that nonsense is getting into the explanation as to how he ended up with his white snake turning into Made in Heaven. Now,
so it's White Snake into Sea Moon into Made in Heaven because the ritual required him to be at specific coordinates for it to work. It's weird.
Well, no, he had Made in Heaven, but then he was compelled to the coordinates for whatever reason. Like,
no, he had to be at specific coordinates for the ritual to work to achieve Made in Heaven. Yeah, so that's why he decided to put it. He was thrown into, you know, a set of metal scrap, and he's ascended into the skies. Like, these are the coordinates that he needs to be. It's weird how that works, but then again, Dio doing Dio stuff, you'll be surprised on how he knows all this stuff. But yeah, so using the power of Made in Heaven to accelerate.
Yeah, well, technically Made in Heaven is gravity, and somehow, because of gravity being, like, you know, like one of the 4 like major forces in like of all universe / creation and stuff like that, right? I wanted to recruit him.
Oh, sorry, I got carried away.
Yeah. So the gravity power he had gave him, you know, sort of that reality / time warping power. So, like, time was accelerating and all that kind of nonsense. Continue.
Because actually he loses the ability to apply gravity, but it's mostly time acceleration. He has the ability to accelerate time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what he did was he accelerated the universe so far to the point where it went through its eventual, was it?
It went through the heat death, and then because of that, there's the theory of, like, the Big Bang goes off again, and the universe, you know, just goes off again. Like, we're at that point now. That's where I
was at. Yeah. So what he ended up doing was he created a new universe that repeated everything that happened in the previous universe, except everything was according to fate, which is everyone knew exactly what they were going to do, and they couldn't do anything about it.
Okay, no, that's where we're differing. So
yeah, so
that's where we're differing, because, like, yes, it was according to fate, but it was. Oh, cool.
I found something.
You found a thingy. Keep it there, though, because it pauses the game. So basically it reverted, like, back to sort of the time where he started and such, and fate dictated, like, you know, where everyone was going to be. But the thing is that it was a fate that he, like, still coordinated and such, where, for instance, Jolene still went to Stone Ocean and all this kind of nonsense because, you know, he was, like, sort of doing manipulations and such, so that because like fate shouldn't be repeating itself when going forward in time, but, like, that's what he did. We get through, like, you know, the fun little thing of, like, what was the name of the child?
What are you talking? Are you talking about? Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
The baseball kid.
Shit. Yeah, freaking him. Because his stand has the ability to put himself into essentially a pocket dimension.
Yeah, so he was immune to, like, you know, the Whatsmahoozies effect, and so he was trying to defeat Poochie. Poochie chased after him in Stone Ocean Prison, like, you know, the second iteration. He does a punch, and for whatever reason, he still had White Snake's disc, or of, like, Weather Report or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, so what happened was Weather Report died, but he didn't have his stand on him because it was stolen by Whitesnake.
Yep.
And then freaking what's his name, the kid? I keep forgetting his bloody name. He managed to acquire the disc.
Yep.
But that stand has its own will, as in it will protect its user automatically.
Yeah.
Which in this case, it automatically activated.
Yeah, and the thing is that Weather Report also has, like, some crazy, like, during Stone Ocean, this was one of those cases where they brought in some real crazy bullshit, because they already had, like, you know, stop time and recreating life and all that kind of nonsense throughout, you know, from, you know, Act 3 and Act 4 and such like that. So, because, yeah, even Jolene's, like, string power is like, oh, she had string theory, so she could create, like, infinite or something like that. Or, like, the Mobius strip and shit. And then Akira was doing some real crazy physics-ending powers with nearly anyone there, because it was all a case of, oh, you just need to understand how your ability works and you can conquer all. But, anywho, so the Weather Report, or whatever the fucking power was that went back into the kid, had some crazy nonsense to it. So it was,
the name of the stand is the same thing anyway.
Oh, it is this?
The name of the stand is, the name of the stand is Weather Report, but it evolves into Heavy Weather, but in this case, it showed off as Weather Report.
Yeah, and so during this time, Poochie had activated his Made in Heaven ability of, like, you know, the time accelerating forward rapidly and all that kind of nonsense, when Weather Report, you know, enacted and did the self-defense mechanism. And at this point, Poochie died during the time, you know, accelerating thing. And so, you know, everything goes forward in time really rapidly, the heat of the universe, and then boom, the great big bang and such like that. And the kid now ends up somewhere on the side of the road meeting basically at this point, the third of the realities, Jolene and some other dude. Because what happened there is, because of reality rebooting for the third time, or for the second time, but without Poochie's influence, so then Fate was no longer stuck in this, like, loop or what have you. Instead, Fate was now, you know, free.
I'm pretty sure what ended up happening with, okay, so, we are missing two. I don't know where the Crosstown one is. Yeah, I don't know where the Crosstown one is. Okay, so, blah, blah, blah.
Lightsabers. Hey there, Het. Hi there, Warhorse Indra.
Yeah, so basically, his universe got rebooted into a new world where the events of Stone Ocean never happened.
Yeah, because Poochie wasn't in this reality to make them happen like he did in the first and the second reality.
Yeah, so all of Jolene and all her companions never actually went to prison. Yep.
Like, Akira, please, you could have done that. But instead, or actually, maybe because he did that, the Steel Bull Run is actually technically in that third reality, and we're just getting the experiences.
You could say that, but the thing I think, like, Akira did, that Araki, what he wanted to do was, he just wanted to also get away from those lines of JoJo's. Because they're all related to each other, like freaking Jonathan, Joseph, Jotaro, Josuke, Giorno, and Jolene.
Yeah.
They're all basically from the same exact bloodline.
Well, that was the point.
Yeah, that was the whole point. But with freaking.
Alright, I need to recruit him.
Recruit him.
There we go.
Freaking part 7's JoJo. He's part of the bloodline, but this is completely different history.
Yeah, he's Johnny Joestar.
Yeah, and getting stands in that universe is completely different to getting stands previously. There's no freaking arrows.
Instead,
you can't get a stand.
Instead, there was, you know, the crossroads or what have you. The pieces of Jesus, who is canonically a JoJo. Fun fact, chat: Jesus of Nazareth, or Jesus, son of Joseph, is a JoJo.
Yeah. So in this case, we call it the Saint Corpse parts, as they're called, and that's the whole basis of Steel Ball Run. Like.
Yep.
Freaking Zappelli and what was it? Which JoJo was it again? Freaking
Johnny.
Johnny. Johnny. Using the Steel Ball Run as a way to, well, he technically wants to win it too, but to also gather the corpse part before Funny Valentine gets it.
Ah, yes. I will be real with you. Akira was kind of going like streets ahead with like creating, let us create this like hyper egotistical American president that with like blonde hair and ridiculous attire. Like, goddamn.
Yeah, adversity, why the long face?
It's
I don't know, ask him,
horse.
not me.
It's because I'm boss. Wait, are we going?
Okay.
Is it this way we going? Or?
Okay, so we need the crosstown selfie. Oh, I know where the crosstown selfie is.
Where's
crap?
Where is it?
It's in the mall upstairs, in that one particular spot where in the elevator spot that we thought was a complete dead end or just a way to get across. It's there. Okay, I know where it is. And to be, here's the funny thing. In the story prior to Steel Ball Run, still following Johnny, by the way, he's technically considered an evil Joestar.
Bold, considering, like, you know,
yeah.
What's his name? Is it Joseph, the second generation one?
Jonathan is the Jonathan
Joseph.
is the first JoJo, and then Joseph.
Yeah, Joseph, the American. He had an affair. He got married, went to Japan at one point, and had an affair. Like, come on. Meanwhile, Jotaro was just an asshole.
Yeah, but he was an asshole for a reason. Okay, so he actually had excuses.
Because of Poochie. Poochie arranged for him to be an asshole.
yeah. So Johnny, before he became a cripple, he was an arrogant horse racer.
Yep.
He basically lived life without caring about other people, and when he was in line for something, one of his fans wanted to.
So we need to go to the mall.
Yep. Yeah, we need to go to the mall. So one of his fans came up to him and was trying to get like an autograph, but Johnny's like, nah, being a complete prick about it. And then the fan just shoots him. Yeah, just straight up shoots him.
Was this in America?
Yeah, this is America. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, so this is exactly it's the exact same way Charles Xavier lost the use of his legs.
Wait, serious? That's how he did it? It wasn't because of Magneto?
No, Magneto deflected the bullet and it hit Xavier. That's why.
Yeah, but that's not the same. That's not the same. That's Magneto. In his, like, you know, pursuit of mutant supremacy, he must, like, you know, having casualties. That's not the same as,
yeah, but
Magneto, I am not getting the attention I deserve. I'm gonna shoot Charles.
Nah, this is the main reason why they both became cripples, getting shot.
Okay, that was a very broad, like, kind of, like, similarity. I was expecting you explaining to me that, like, oh yeah, Charles Xavier, like, in earlier X-Men's was, like, you know, a celebrity or something like that, and he made a mistake of like, you know, not letting someone.
Okay, oops. Okay, we gotta be quick with this. Okay, so yeah, basically, Johnny got shot, and because he got shot, he lost all his opportunities to horse race. Yeah, straight up, he just lost all his opportunities to horse race to the point where he entered the Steel Ball run as a way to get his life back in order.
Okay, let's work this out. Steal it.
That's pretty much it. The only reason why Johnny is in Steel Ball Run, the actual race, is to get back his former glory, and he starts to learn a bit of humility. He learns to not be a complete asshole. Okay, how the heck am I meant to get there?
I'm imagining the elevator will go down.
Are you... And then Johnny then learns the concept of stands and the spin.
Yeah, the spin looked like it could have been cool and such like that. And then, oh, jeez, I missed it.
Got it.
Oh, what?
No, it's a weird angle.
Okay, because I thought it was a case of like you got to jump onto the elevator while it's on the going up bit.
It's like where I'm standing, you need to be here to jump on. And like, I thought it was further up. All right, the last selfie's in Flat Iron.
All right.
Flat Iron is... Where the heck is that? Okay, so when you take the bus stop... Oh, it's up at the hot spring area.
Are you going through a strategy guide?
When it comes to this shit, I'd rather look it up for finding the location of these things. I'm not looking for the cats, though. If it's main story or stuff that I can easily find, I'm not going to search it up. But for these selfie locations, I'm pretty sure I've checked everywhere and I don't know where it is. Okay, so here we need to go right and up one.
Is this the right you want? I think that one goes up.
No, the one past Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what, it's kind of funny how I do kind of wish that when Araki was doing more of JoJo, we at least got back to the idea of Hamon.
I think Hamon, like, the way it was explained is, like, he changed, like, because we had, like, 2 arcs worth of it. Like, we had way more Hamon than we had Spin. Like, but amazingly enough, like, Hamon lasted for quite a while, but, like, for him, it was the problem that, right, you can do this. Like, he explored it as far as he could by having it, like, set within breath and such like that. It's like how in, it was like in Demon Slayer. It's like, yeah, like, you know, it was all about breathing and such like that, but it really quickly had to, like, introduce a new thing. In this case, the art styles, or not the art styles, the, like, all the different styles. And what, is it in here?
Wait, give me a second. I'm being attacked. Should be around here somewhere. I can come over. Let me check. I do like the fan theory that Hamon and Spin and Stands are basically the same thing in different forms. Like, it's an interesting concept.
That one's a weird... I feel like that one's a weird... I can accept that, like, oh yeah, like, the 3 things can work together, because we saw that with Spin, and arguably, like, as we saw with, don't hit me too much.
Oh, you need food. So, because in part 3, we saw Joseph use Hamon with his stand, Hermit Purple.
Yeah, like, that was always the thing. And it's like, he could have made himself, like, live longer as well with Hamon, but for whatever reason, he didn't.
Yeah, for some reason, he didn't.
Are you sure it's here?
I'm checking.
What? I feel like this is maybe the wrong hot spring. because yeah, it doesn't let us go quote unquote in unless.
What is it asking me to do? Oh, we need. Oh, we need it for it to be nighttime to get this one. It's outside at night, and I'm like, how do I make it nighttime?
Okay, I'm not bothering with that. Like, cookie for Bookie. Here's your cookie, Bookie.
Oh, and everyone's saying happy affiliate anniversary to
Are you disappointed that I didn't like tell you that it was my affiliate anniversary and that I didn't do like cool things?
I didn't even know it was your affiliate anniversary.
Neither did I. This is all just happening, all right? I just wanted to play fun games on stream, and it was Monday, which meant we were playing River City Girls with you, Blue, Foxy, Nicey, Icy.
I wonder what you would have done instead. That's an interesting question. What you would have done instead? Okay,
I feel like for an affiliate anniversary, I think first and foremost, I would try and do it as like an extended stream of some sort and go through Final Fantasy 14. That would definitely be on the to-go, because like that one is just very much a greatest hits thing. Field some questions or something like that across like, you know, my different socials beforehand, so then that way like when we reach like certain milestones, I would go about like answering some of them.
Later, dweebs.
So moderators would then need to like, you know, do double checks and what have you, because I wouldn't want to do like face reveal or some shit.
Oh, you're buying stuff? Alright.
Yeah, I got like nothing. So I don't have like oh, this is the place for like items, not the okay.
Did you buy the what?
coin purse?
Have you bought? It's a coin purse. You should have a golf shirt, I think.
Yeah, I already have the thing for like poisoning peeps and possibly burning them with my heavy attacks. I get to see the face. It's a nice face. Yeah, but I promised myself this like years and years ago, Artemis. I wouldn't do a face reveal because I personally like the anonymity of, you know, streaming with a VTuber and all that kind of nonsense. Because like, fun lore for some people. There was a time where I tried doing a YouTube channel of a Let's Play like years ago back in high school. I tried doing streaming as well during university. All of them, I didn't want to reveal my face or anything like that because, you know, I wasn't exactly a fan of like my appearance and stuff like that, especially as I was gaining weight and, you know, I was acne and all kinds of different reasons. And, you know, I'm not egotistical enough to like be able to go through my voice like. Yep. I wasn't egotistical enough to like, you know, go through like my like VODs and such and like you know, do like short form content or medium form content for YouTube or anything like that as well. I just cringed. But yeah, then, you know, through like, you know, furry fandom and all that kind of nonsense, came across getting referenced art and then 2D PNGs, and then at one point, you know, I got a 3D model, and it was like the 3D model, I'll be frank with you, was not for VTubing's sake. It was for an entirely different, not safe for work reason. And then I was like, oh hey, like people do VTubing with this, and this came in about 5 years ago, I would say. So 2020, end of 2020, start of 2021. Hi there, World Star Kaiju.
Welcome on in.
Welcome. So
okay, I actually need to tweet this guy.
One of the so finally realized of like, oh yeah, this 3D model can be used for VTubing, and I wasn't the very first because Wolf had done the VTuber. You wanted to recruit him?
Yeah, I don't have him yet.
All right.
Don't mind me.
So I went and yep, that's not one for you. I went and got this model, which was originally made for like Blender posing and all that kind of nonsense, into a like I did some PNGs with it, for like, you know, talking and all that kind of nonsense, thanks to a tutorial. At the time, their name was Stunner Pony, but you will know them as Cocomania DX. X, they had a cool tutorial on how to do like rendering of like PNG tubers and such within OBS without needing to do any other additional filters or programs. But then, you know, Wolf worked on making my thing compatible for VR chat and for VTubing using VSFs, or not VSS, VRMs. And so, you know, fast forward and, you know, I'm using this model right now. He was able to do small edits to it. So for instance, making it so that the nose, like previously, the nose did not go this low. The nose used to be like with the top of the brow. So unless I was facing like forwards like this, my eyes would be covered whichever direction I went. So
well, we're up to modern day now. You haven't changed your model. How old is your model?
5 years. 5 coming on to actually no, 6 years. At least 6 years by this point. But I've been actually I might have been streaming now for 6 years rather than 5. No, I think it would be. I think it would be 5 years at this point because it was definitely during 2020 or 2021 that I was streaming.
Yep. So.
But yeah.
Because the funny thing is, usually a lot of people nowadays, I'm not saying before, but now they would retire and then get something new like every 4.
Ridiculous. Like I have a refresh. I have like a text file of like, oh, I would love to refresh this stuff. But I still like Wolf's style. I do not have the skills to do all this kind of nonsense, like 3Ding. And I feel like if I wanted to commit to trying to learn it, it's like I would have to drop streaming, and I don't want to do that because it's a lot of work getting up here. But yeah, sorry. Going backwards and sorry, I'll also mute myself so then that way people don't hear it on your side. While you're doing all the important business.
I'm just checking, so I need to go.
But yeah, going back like earlier and all that kind of nonsense.
Right.
Got this model. It was 3D,
myself
doing the VTubing and all that kind of nonsense. I
myself am
committed
trying.
Sorry, I'm just gonna also I decided that I wouldn't do like because I was not comfortable showing my face on the internet, and I wasn't. And I've seen how like, you know, for a lot of people they're like, oh yeah, when you're using a VTube model and stuff like that, sometimes people do face reveals for like, you know, for, you know, clout and such. It's like I don't ever want to do a face reveal unless it's like, you know, tens of thousands of dollars at one point or something or other. Because yeah. I don't want to get in trouble at work, and I don't want people like upending my life because they know who I look like and such. And yeah.
To keep, I know that with what I'm going for later, it's going to be considered outdated since I'm changing a whole lot. But yeah, I'm just hoping that a lot of things will change the way I want it to.
All right, where are we going? I got done finally explaining to my chat side about not wanting to reveal my face unless, you know, 10,000 subs.
So up, right, yeah, up, right, up.
Awesome. So
yeah, because that Yakuza guy that was blocking our way is gone.
All right, cool.
Because they're too busy raiding the school, I think.
Oh, that's a new wrestler.
That's a new wrestler. Okay. I'll keep them away from everyone else. So, oh god, don't grab me. So I was just staying on my end that I still have my original PNG tuber that Vacuum's made for me, which I paid for. Yeah, which I paid for.
Why don't you bring it out?
It is. Well, let's see. I'm currently under a transformation. Okay, I can show it. As long, like, can you deal with this menace while I sort out the other thing? So, this is the PNG tuber model that I've been using for a long time, and then I ended up swapping to this because I felt like this was great and all. I enjoy using this PNG tuber a lot, but because of what I'm going for later on,
it's not suitable.
it's not suitable. Like, it is technically part of my style, but the problem is not the style itself. It's due to who it belongs to. So, all the clothes that you see here, let me enter the freaking shop so I can stop getting attacked.
Oh yeah, this is soups and sticks.
Yeah, soups and sticks.
Weary travelers are welcome here. Please.
My outfits that I actually that my Sona wears on stream.
Oh damn it! I accidentally pressed the wrong button because it's a fucking Nintendo Switch
I hope
controller
we
and the
meet
B is at the
again.
bottom.
Path of our lives.
We need to go in again. Sorry.
Back in?
Yeah, because like the B is at the bottom. That's not appropriate. The B should be on like the left middle or something like that. A and X are at the bottom.
Nah, this it's always been like this
I know it's
for Nintendo stuff.
Oh my.
Yeah, but then again, I don't think you are as used to playing on every controller. As much. Like suddenly my hand has muscle memories of all the controls for some reason. I don't know why. The B was on my bottom and my bottom is big. Oh my god, is that a Simpsons reference? That's a Simpsons reference. That's freaking Homer saying that. So where was I? Oh yeah. My Sona's outfit that you see on stream is actually stuff I own in person.
Yeah, like I'm looking at Blue's chat. Go over to Blue Foxy and Icy stream right now just so you can see that attire there that he is wearing. That is all Blue IRL. Like he can do that. He can just have like the Galaxy print like under stitch with like the cool like felt or like fur line collar and the cool like tail scarf. I'm pretty sure he also has like a plush biddy or something like that. Like what you see there.
I know, Mega made me a plush of my made a plush of my Glaceon Sona wearing the same thing, and Button Fox, who is the one that created this, I didn't intentionally use the clothes for streaming, but I wanted to figure out what should my Sona wear. Yeah, what should my Sona wear? And I ended up with this. Where's my freaking fursuit photo that is better depicts me in that I actually own this stuff? I remember I had it somewhere.
They don't trust my word? Sorry, I'm just picking up on that.
Nah, it's better if they see it. I think I saw. I think I know you have a copy of it somewhere. Someone sent me a copy of this.
Of your fursuit? Oh, I'm so sorry. I need to go to the bathroom. I've been holding it in for too long. I need to go.
Well, luckily for me, I get to control this chat for a bit, if you're on my side. Okay. Let's double check. Image. Okay, I'm pretty yeah, okay, that's a ton of images that I need to sit through, but I know Zeebs has... Someone has an image. I had this image somewhere. Where the heck did I put this thing? No, that's nope, that's not my... Nope, that was the time when I asked I need a reference from him and I didn't get what I... Yeah, that's a bit of a messy thing. What was it? Someone sent me this. He's somewhere. Am I just a dumbass?
I have returned, but someone has stolen my shirt!
Yeah, I feel like I'm just a dumbass.
In a very safe place, obviously. You stole
in a very safe
my
place,
shirt.
obviously. I know I have an image of it. 100%.
Are you
And
looking
it's on
for an
here.
image of your of like when you were dressed up as your, furry?
Yeah. While in my actual outfit, it's somewhere here. I know I had it. I remember seeing it.
I have a special section for my fursuit. I've not done anything about... I've got you when you're on your fursuit walk, so you're wearing like just a shirt, I think, at the time, and you still had your scarf, but not your jacket. Because having a jacket out while walking to the beach is a terrible idea.
Of course, there's a reason why. Okay, there's a reason why when I went fursuiting. Okay, actually no, I can't show that image because that's gonna dox somebody.
Yeah, let's not dox anyone.
Okay, actually, is it? No, I think I know who. I think it was you. Yeah, no, actually, I got it. You know what? No, I don't want. Dang it! I know someone had an image. What was it? It was the first time I had my fursuit, so that was like. What was it? 2023 is when I actually wore the fursuit. At Furdu. I know it. I have it on my PC, and someone sent it to me via Discord as well. No, it can't be Jack. There's no way it's Jack. Was it? I'll be quite hilarious if it was Jack. If it was Jack that actually has me in that fursuit.
Let's have a little. There's a picture of you biting my hand.
Yeah, but that doesn't exactly showcase
Yeah, okay.
everything. I know the exact image. This is the weird part. This is the thing that's kind of griping at me right now.
Chat, this is very important stuff right now. We're trying to find.
Oh wait, oh my god, don't tell me it's actually Alu that actually has this image. I swear to god, if it is. It is, fuck's sakes, it is freaking Alu that has this image.
Oh my gosh, I'm going through previous images that I've shared to you, and I honestly think it's hilarious. Like, one of the ones, chat, give me a second, I need to grab this image real quick.
Okay, I
save image.
found it. I found the image. Okay, so what you're gonna showcase a freaking image of me on your side, aren't you?
No, it's not you. Oh, unless do you believe? Do you firmly believe that you are represented via Daisy, the tomboy princess?
Oh my goodness, freaking! This is when you actually no, you weren't there when I dressed up in the princess outfit, but I'm pretty sure you got images of me somewhere.
I do. Yeah. Save image.
You can join. Okay, why does it say you can join the stream? I'm part of the stream. What the heck?
Dink. Don't.
Okay, I found the image. So, the image is this. So this was at.
Okay, you show your image first, and then I'll show the image I have. Oh, that's a cool image that you got there.
So this was okay. This was the second Furdu because the first Furdu I did not have a fursuit. Second Furdu was when they. Was it when they moved? Con Hotel? I'm pretty sure it's when they moved Con Hotel.
Possibly.
Yes, because the Furdu I went to was Mantra. For the first one, and then they moved it to Crown Plaza. Yeah, so I actually own the Galaxy Glider Cape. That's what it's called. Made by Button Fox. And the Foxtail Scarf is also made by Button Fox as well. I believe it's the only one left of its kind in that color. Like, Button Fox has told me that no one else has that foxtail scarf in that color. And that galaxy cape of mine, there's only probably 100 of those in the world. 100. There's like 300 of the capes, but 100 of them or less have the galaxy design because that material was sought after. So, yeah, thanks a lot, Zeebs, for freaking putting me in the princess outfit.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure
see-
Artemis put you in the pretty princess.
Then why does it say GrantZeebs?
I don't know. If you look above it, it says Artemis saying pretty princess. Blue is a pretty princess. I think she compelled for you to be a pretty princess.
My goodness.
My girlfriend has some very convincing powers.
I think she's using your money to pay for things that she wants. Yeah, that's it. I've been through this rodeo before. Okay, so the reason why I'm trying to distance myself from this design is mostly because this is Button Fox clothing, alright? And this is not something that, well, I own the clothes, but the concept is theirs.
Ah, okay.
So what I'm trying to do is it's the same thing as the what the SCP community is doing, where they're trying to get rid of the original source images used for most of the SCPs from the older gens, out of respect for the original sources. Like the SCP-173, freaking as I know him, Peanut. That was an art piece done by a Japanese artist. The artist has given permission to use it as an SCP for the SCP article, but I think what the community wanted to make their own SCP-173, and they did it out of respect to the artist.
I thought we were talking about your persona. Why the fuck are we talking about SCP shit now? Sorry, I
I'm
need to stop dancing at this point. What the fuck?
You missed the bridge. I basically said I'm trying to get away from this concept as the same way as the SCP community is trying to revamp their old SCPs by getting rid of the original source images, because those were images taken from other parts of the internet with or without permission. Yeah, because it belongs to someone else. Like, the community wants to do their own thing. Whereas I also want to do my own thing. And move away from this attire. Sure, I'll still have it around, but it's not going to be my main outfit anymore.
Look, fair enough, fair enough. Meanwhile, I will probably never move away from this attire that I have. The autism in me says, you've made this one design, it works well, you're never gonna change it. You're always gonna be a zebra with a shirt and jeans. It's just like, you might have small changes, like in an anime season by season, or maybe an episode special, when you hear the Naruto dun 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 dun, you're gonna be seeing me in the himbo shirt and jeans.
Yeah,
So.
For you, that's your image, and it's so... the concept is generic enough that you can easily get away with it, no problem. Like, you can change whatever shirt you want,
Yeah,
which is a good thing for you.
I know. I have all kinds of different shirt designs, and my girlfriend keeps stealing, like, many of them when they pop up. So right now I'm wearing the Let It Snow shirt on my shirt. It doesn't say Let Tits Now. It says Let It Snow.
Yeah, whereas for me, I'm using something that actually exists. And it's, the concept belongs to an Australian apparel maker.
Ah.
Yeah, which is why I am trying to get away from that.
Alright, fair enough.
It's me out of respect for Button Fox, that as much as I am associated with the Galaxy Cape and the Foxtail scarf and all that, I think it's right for me to say I'm happy to have used this for as long as I have, but now I need to figure out what my own image is.
Okay.
Yeah, because all of this used to be placeholders for my main persona, and I couldn't think of anything else to make myself different. Like, have you seen other people's refs? A lot of them, I would say, look street smart, smart casual or casual.
Yeah. Unless you're a caricature, like, people will be like, where is it? Why? There used to be a button for me to reconnect my...
Oh, you're having issues with the fishing thing?
Yeah.
Gotta love it when everything breaks. That's how you know you're watching an authentic Twitch stream.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making a checklist to make sure I steal them all at least once. Need for the horde. All right, just I see that you are doing the collectathon. But yeah, my new design. Very, very few people have seen the new design. Though only the ones that need to actually see it, because I'm commissioning things. I don't think Zeebs has seen it, but he's kept it under wraps for good reason.
I am a really great secret keeper. It's either because I am really good at secret keeping, or I have legitimately forgot. Oh, it's a exclamation point reconnect. It's a command.
A lot of the time, it's just you forget about it, and it's you're self-keeping the information without even knowing it.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
exactly.
All right, without further ado, you're done ordering all you need?
I reckon I am. All right, so I need to reject,
All right.
refund.
Okay, let's get into
all
this.
of
So,
these.
and just to let you all know, my main outfit is not the princess outfit. Definitely not.
It could totally be. All right, did you purchase all the food you wanted?
I already have everything.
Despite my nose, my prices are always honest.
Anyway.
Yes, Tengu guy.
But yeah, for those of you, like, I found a meme that I shared to Blue Foxy and ICIC that gave me a little bit of a chuckle while we were looking for Blue Foxy and ICIC's furry pick. It's unrelated to his, like, furry pick, unless, of course, he feels himself like a proper connection to Daisy, and it is, behold this!
What are you showing?
There's a look in Daisy that is different between 2014 and 2025, and for whatever reason, the quote retweet is, "There's a hunger for cock in her eyes that wasn't there before."
You can blame Luigi for that one, alright? You can blame Luigi.
We can blame Luigi? Is she just desiring Luigi at that point?
Yeah, but here's the weird thing though, like, I've been seeing too many things about freaking Bowser and Luigi. Because, have you seen the Super Mario Galaxy movie?
I've not seen the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I'm waiting on that, because there's some films that I haven't seen before, but I kind of want to watch them with Artemis as well. So...
Yeah, that's fair enough. So yeah, that's fair enough. But...
This is it.
Also,
the final battle.
Just...
You ready for this?
Not really. I'm tired and my feet hurt.
Just need Blue's
You?
body cast so I
About
can
the
make a
same.
pretty maid outfit
go
for
save the
Blue.
day so we
Yeah,
can
do you
veg
still
out
have your
on
body
video
cast
games.
around from when you
Now
did
you're
your
talking.
fursuit?
I never got a body
Looks like Sabu was already torn
body
this
cast. It
place
was a
apart.
partial.
Oh.
Don't
Get
kill
yourself a
Sabu.
body cast.
Yes, listen to them, sis.
I'm not going to kill you, little brother.
Oh, thank God.
Our family takes care of one another, even if we are not bound by blood.
I won't ever forget this, Sabuko.
Oh my god, we're getting
Sorry to break
betrayed.
up this cute family reunion, but no one's going anywhere. Yeah, we beat you both up before, and we can do it again.
I feel confident that I could best you both in battle with minimal effort. However, why
Getting
risk?
raided!
Oh my goodness! Raid and Blue Foxy and ICIC stream!
Dun, 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 dun.
Your impulsivity was
Hello, Badger!
for my plan. Thank you, teenagers.
Sabu family rule!
Don't let them get away!
It's a badger raid.
Hello, Badger. Welcome on in, Raiders. I'm Blue Foxy ICIC, or you can just call me Ice for short. I'm an Aussie furry streamer specialized in games and nostalgia, and I'm currently doing a collab with the GrantZeebs.
Hello!
Welcome. How was Madden NFL 21?
Self-care is super important, dude. Drop by often.
Alright. Let's... Okay, so we went into the sauna and went crazy. AO, IC, and Zeebs. Just 2 matches ago. The first one was close. The second was belt to ask. Well,
Ooh.
interesting. Like, because wait, no, Madden is American football or gridiron, yeah?
Yes, it is American football.
Man, like, I can't get into...
Get us out of here before those wretched teenagers get the best of us.
Like, I can't get into sports games.
Hurry up!
We can't
Ken
let
is
them get
just
away.
stuck at the top
The
there.
helicopter.
Oh, I'm gonna kill him! Wait, how am I to deal damage to the freaking helicopter?
I think we have to...
Oh, I think I might know how to get up there. Wait, no, it won't let me go there.
You're fired.
That didn't do anything!
How did
Wait.
you do that?
Wait, is it throwing? Oh, throwing grenades! You have to throw grenades? Yeah. Okay, they randomly drop grenades.
I thought these guys were just schoolboys. I didn't think they were ninja.
Oh, they are schoolboys. They're just bullies in pompadours. Okay, okay, if you see grenades, just chuck them. Okay. I need to I will consume a video game. But yeah, Badger, if you need to de-stream, like eat, drink, sleep, or whatever, feel free to do so. I'll take care of your gremlins. Hope you had a great time. What the heck am I doing? Well, we are farming for money. It's an interesting thing. But it's not what I want.
Ow. Okay, don't jump into the helicopter when
you're Okay, I can't damage it if there's... Unless it's telling us to do something with it. Oh, there's a grenade. Oh, yeah.
I did the same thing as well.
You want that food that's in front of the...
Yep.
Oh, there's a couple grenades in the back. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the idea of Ken just hanging outside for his life, where I could have just beat the shit out of him, but they won't let me do that.
Yeah, it's unfair. We could have beaten him for a third time.
Or maybe beating him up gives us a bonus or something. That would be pretty nice. Okay, I don't... Eat grenade! Ow. Gotta be careful because they can also pick up the grenades too.
Oh, can they? I was not aware of that.
Yes. Yeah, I kept getting blown up by them. How dare you attack my recruit? I beat him up just to get him. Cartwheel time. Okay, any more grenades?
Yep, one more on the far right.
Oh, another one.
I think that was the one I was trying to grab, but I dropped. Yep, and then he threw a grenade at me.
How many guys are in your helicopter?
As many as he wants.
What is this, freaking hammer space? What is happening?
Yeah! Did it.
Alright, we did it.
Let's head inside and end this.
There we go.
Alright. Okay, before we do anything, okay, I think...
Back
okay,
into
I see
the
what's the
spa.
problem. Okay, I see the problem. I know what's going on here.
What's going on here?
I'm just quickly fixing something that is very annoying.
Oh, hey, look what we got here. Come on in, my dude.
Okay.
Do you want to pay for the sauna this time? I paid for the last one.
Yeah, I'll pay for it. Just give me a second.
Chat's looking at Princess Daisy. He's flicking through a magazine, and then he gets to a centerfold of Daisy at the beach, and he's just like, ooh, and then he like turns it on its side, and then like an extra, like, you know, special bit, it drops out, and he's just like, ooh. That's what's in my head. That's my headcanon for what Blue is doing right now, rather than going for a sauna, is that he's just looting on Daisy.
What do you mean looting on Daisy? What
You're
are you on
looting
about?
on Princess Daisy in your free time. Instead of hanging out with me, GrantZeebs, as we play through River City Girls 2.
Okay, is that... Okay, and then fix this. Yeah, I gotta find a better way of stopping my sources from moving. Like, it's really annoying.
Scenes within scenes. Like, you can have nested scenes, so then that way they actually just, like, you know, you can have however many scenes nested rather than utilizing group folders, where folders are, you know, rife with having transformation problems if you are going to be utilizing the move feature on them.
Yep. All right, so there you go. I paid for the sauna. You happy now?
I'm not unhappy. Hi there, Savage. Welcome, welcome. Glad to see you're not banned on Twitch after presenting Discord nonsense.
What the heck is going on?
Oh, have you not heard? Have you not heard of the latest fuckery that Discord has ended up with?
Well, I am not surprised by what they do nowadays.
Okay, so let me give you some context. All right, so Discord utilizes AI for like image scanning to make sure that, you know, people are not presenting in public servers like any, you know, child pornographic material, like illegal nonsense like that.
Basically anything that's considered very, very bad.
Exactly. Now, unfortunately, because they used an AI program or system to do this, the AI got a little overzealous. For instance, let me find someone in one of the other Discords pointed out
Here's
about
a cat.
this.
Take it before I throw it.
Ding dong. Where are you? Here, so things that are currently seen as problematic images are images featuring brick walls, featuring pool tiles, drawn grids, stream layout screenshots, a top-down picture of keyboards, spreadsheets from Google Docs or Excel, and so on, grills, cut salmon, Asperite screenshots, the Minecraft inventory, the Deltarune Battle UI, Wordle, a notebook paper, a checkerboard pattern, and tier lists.
Oh boy. This is whack.
So,
How much more of the game do you all have?
Oh,
we
hi
gotta
there,
just
Tim.
do this entire. We gotta do this entire area, which is was it some Wakai Tower.
okay.
We unlocked the building. There's more places to explore, so I don't know if we should be going around or entering the tower, or if that is the tower. I don't know. I think that's the tower. Let's just. I'm just gonna explore the rest of this place. That's a lot of enemies.
Yeah, and in close proximity, and I just want to try and recruit. No, none of those three are. I've already like. So yeah, I've already recruited the cool redhead and the big beefy woman. Oh, we got a. You're going in here, is it?
The funny thing is, the only thing I've sent anywhere recently was a pic I saw on Twitter of someone showing recommended levels for OBS stream volume.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I've seen a few of those, and I want to do like a review of them because, like, you know, I feel like, you know, streaming, yes, is a very visual, like, you know, medium and such, but depending on the kind of streamer you are, such as myself, where I just do way more yapping and people are more interested in the yapping than the video game, I want to have good audio levels, especially when it comes to, you know, going between playing a video game or, you know, having friends in my Discord. So, yeah.
Actually, I already got him.
I don't, so that was a recruit for me.
Okay, so apparently going this way was pointless. It just takes us back to Ocean Heights.
So dumb how the AI was triggered by that. Yeah, well, to be fair, this is one of those cases, like, if you talk to anyone that's actually engaged with, like, you know, early AI, like, fun fact, one of the earlier blunders of AI is, like, when they made it as, like, sort of a black box thing, is that when Amazon was trying to automate their HR, like, recruitment system, they found that it did a very unfair bias towards men that took part in lacrosse groupings. So, like, one, being a man, two, going to a university with a lacrosse club and participating in the lacrosse apparently got you a very, gave you a very strong bias into reaching the later rounds of recruitment. Another one, which is also, like, way more problematic, looking up cancer cells and what have you, and potential, like, moles being actually cancerous. Turns out, the images that were being fed to AI for what was benign and what was, you know, viral, or, you know, dangerous, if there was a measuring tool presented in the image, it was seen as a dangerous or infectious, like, or, you know, disease, or, you know, cancerous mole, because everyone that was submitting images of just moles don't use rulers in their images. The only time that people were measuring moles were when it was cancerous. So it was one of those very fun, like, oh yeah, maybe tell the AI to ignore that particular detail.
That is whack. Alright, so I'm gonna go this way, in case this might be a random hideout for us.
Okay. Hopefully so.
If it is, good. If we somehow die, we can come back here. No, it's not. It's a sushi train!
Ooh! I love sushi trains.
Man, a freaking lick your tongue, sushi go round, let's go!
Is that what they have over in Japan, like a lick-a-tongue sushi train?
No, that's the Pokemon Stadium 1 minigame, which I think is the best. I love that minigame, alright?
Is there a Pokemon restaurant, like a Pokemon themed one?
Pokemon Cafe in Tokyo and Osaka. You have to reserve a booking to get in. They will take walk-ins if no one shows up for their thing, but that's usually at the end of the day.
Alright, let's see if we can recruit this one.
You can. I'll give you the chance. I got a fancy sword.
Yeah, your sword will insta-kill them usually.
I love sushi. I love refrigerators.
So yeah. Oh yeah, let me give a shout out to Time, because, you know, they too are also a streamer. They do
they too also a streamer.
Yeah, they are. They're a Canadian Malflum. They actually do they do their own trivias, like furry adjacent trivias.
Cat up there. Don't tell me I have to do some weird ass logic. Because there's no other way to enter this room.
Nah, I'm in.
Oh, you got up there?
Yep.
You just gotta grab that cat.
Got it.
Okay, there's only one cat in this place. Because I should put this accessory back on. It's a shirt that makes me stronger for every cat we rescue.
Oh, nice.
I'm not going out of my way to save all the cats, but the more cats we save, the stronger I become.
Is on my list of places I would like to visit. Honestly, like,
Yeah.
the places I want to visit in Japan, it's like, a part of me wants to go to, like, you know, a pig cafe is one of them, because that one actually sounds kind of, like, interesting, and it's, like, different from, like, you know, a maid cafe or a cat cafe. Actually, no, raccoon. The raccoon cafe I want to go to.
You gotta be careful with those cafes, because a lot of people that are in the know avoid those places.
Just let me have my... I'll do the proper critical, like, research and stuff like that, but off the top of my dome, raccoons or like some sort of pet cafe that isn't just cats, the Monster Hunter cafe, the Final Fantasy XIV cafe, granted both of those are in the same building, Studio Ghibli, what's Mahuzi thing, the Universal Studios Japan, and
I am not going to any of the animal cafes because of due to not all of the animal cafes are good, and I'm not saying good in terms of service, it's not good for the animals.
yeah, kind of like zoos, where not all zoos are, you know, designated equal in the eyes of, you know, something like Australia's zoo.
Yeah. Take this slot machine. Oh, you actually give salad.
Oh, nice.
Slot machine give me salad.
There is an
there's
animal
nothing else
zoo
here.
cafe where you can pet foxes, meerkats, and other animals. Yeah, so we'll find one of those that's actually safe. Like, I know Blue just hears, like, you know, he hears the word animal in a cafe, and he's just gonna have, like, you know, the spider sense of, like, I don't know how I feel about this. And he's just like,
Oh no,
just live in the moment, Blue.
No, this is not the sense. This is actual information I know.
Okay, so you know the cafe that Warhorse Indra is talking about, and is the
No,
problematic
not-
one, or you just know that
no.
you know luck is not on our side, where it's like, you know, the random chances it's a problematic.
Oh no, there are some cafes legit that don't treat the animals well or properly.
I understand that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
again,
So
like, are we
and
gonna?
the-
Ooh, hello.
And usually the only way to end this practice is to just not really check them out at all. And a lot of the time it's the tourists that check them out, not locals. But if you do want to go see animals, there's the Deer Sanctuary, 30 minutes out from Osaka.
Oh, I know about that one. Is it the one with the monkeys?
No, not with the one with the monkeys. Like, this is the place with all the deer everywhere. They will eat those specific
Am I
deer crackers.
Getting...
I'm getting assaulted. Okay, I'm getting stuck here. Yeah, that deals with those idiots. There's the Fox Village, north of Tokyo. If that's a day trip you got to take, I do want to visit that. There's a ton of foxes everywhere. There's the Osaka Aquarium. You can check out the zoos. I'm going to go to the left. That's a empty room.
What, the one on the left or the one I was going to go into?
This one, I'm trying to see if there's a hideout in here. Ooh! Ooh, free shit! What weapon do you want? Okay, there's the sword. There's the guitar. There's the bike chain. Bike chains hurt. I don't think we can actually break these. The one
You just saw me break it.
I just hear the sound of a bat.
Put in their price for the reveal on it. Switching your price won't take long to pull someone back. Hopefully so, Savage Wolf. Hopefully so. I imagine that because of like the widespread like, you know, PSA people are giving of like, oh yeah, like these like overly zealous like, you know, breaks and such like that are causing like, you know, false positives and such. I imagine Discord will probably be going through them like all over again, where it's like, okay, cool. Reverse like whatever thingamajiggy we've done at this point in time, and then we'll start like doing manual reviews of X accounts that were banned at this time.
Some of the things I want to do in Japan is I do want to go to this workshop that lets you repurpose old kimonos.
Okay.
Like to your size, like. It's a good way.
Wait.
Yeah, so it's a good way of having kimono fashion on the cheap, because you'll be surprised by how many kimonos get thrown out each year.
Is it because of fast fashion, or is it because of like some weird thing of like, oh yeah, people need to change like the kimono design each year when they take part in something?
It's a bit of fast fashion. It's a bit of what you said as well. And do keep in mind that kimonos. Like, you can get really good ones for a reasonable price. There are expensive ones, but no one's gonna throw an expensive one away. And then you got mass-produced ones, so... But I like the idea of getting my own type of kimono that's repurposed from an old one. And you get to work towards it too, so you take part in the process. I think another thing I want to do is make my own Game Boy.
Oh, what do you... Your own?
Yeah, so what they do is they will give you all of the OG Game Boy hardware, and all you're doing is you're putting a new case, new buttons, and all of that jazz. New backlit screen. So the base components are there, but everything else is new. And you get to play with
This is definitely very
the Game Boy for a bit before they tell you, oh, you get to keep the Game Boy afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah, it's in Japanese, but I got a feeling like you can just mod it.
I imagine so, because like Game Boy has definitely existed in that time where it's like people have come up with their own little means of reverse engineering
Now
it
we're
and
gonna
doing
do the same
custom
to you.
modification. Because it's like, haven't we like now entered into an era where it's like, yeah, we can do 100% true emulation of Game Boy. There's no longer any like crazy tricks for hack's sake. And the trick is to now try and do that for the like the PlayStation 1 and like Nintendo Nintendo GameCube.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and recruit one of these guys.
Okay.
Don't bother fighting it. These modified Yakuza learn with each punch you throw. Eventually,
Oh, dang it.
you'll fall to them.
I wish
You need
I
that
could
apple more than me.
eventually-
Oh, these guys I
okay.
want to try and recruit.
Alright, we'll try recruit. These guys I know we don't have for sure. I don't recognize them.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard about that place. It's also on the list. I want to make my own chopsticks.
That would be cool.
Like, there's a bunch of them in...
There's a lot of things you're listing that I'm like, oh, I would love to do this.
Yes, I want to make my own pair of chopsticks. There's also a workshop for make your own food samples.
Alright, let's try not to...
And, the make your own food
okay,
samples
so that's one
is...
of them. Nope, never mind. You got both of them
They just
killed.
died at the same time. Okay, that was a
You
bit
hit.
annoying.
You keep going through your combos too far. You need to like remember to like minimize your actual combos. Like just 1 or 2 hits.
Cartwheel! Okay, that one blew up. I'll let you deal with the other 2, I guess. So there
so that
is...
one's down, so you can take on the white one.
You already got that one? Alright. Okay, are you going to... No, you're not surrendering? Surrender to your new overlord. No portal shenanigans. Well, I think he's dead. Oh, not dead.
Oh, never mind.
It was.
That was us.
I swear. I swear we would have easily done it. There is. Let's see, make my own chopsticks. Make your own food samples. You basically make those replica foods outside a Japanese restaurant, so you get to see what you're actually ordering.
Metal door. $10 says Sabu's behind there.
I don't have $10. Can we just make a friendly bet?
Sure.
Yeah, can we make it a friendly bet,
These
Zeebs?
carts.
Oh, you're welcome to try.
Hey, check out those 3 wires. I wonder where they lead.
Damn it, Ken. I thought you said you finished the security doors. Ah.
Yeah, your dumbass son doesn't know how to fix things. Ow!
Alright, let's see if we can recruit this guy.
You go. Oh, okay. That made it easy.
There we go.
Okay, so before I just want to quickly check the map on where we can go. There has to be a high. Well, we need to go to all 3 rooms regardless. So, but going up, I think is a dead end. So I'm going up in case that's a safe room.
Hopefully so.
I already been to Japan. I've been to Shibuya, Ikebukuro, Shinjuku.
Don't touch it. That is critical machinery.
A lot of places that are considered locations in Persona. Because they're based on actual locations.
Well, yeah, that's
so
because
I'm not
Persona
surprised.
is like based in Japan. It's not made up in a place like in Pokemon.
Oh, one more. Oh, we could have got 69. Okay, but as you'd be surprised by how people know how to navigate through Japan just because they played Persona.
Destroy all 3, we can open that huge door.
There's nothing else here.
Maybe this tower doesn't actually have any safe
Hideouts?
houses because it's the Yakuza tower.
That's true. But I see on the GPS, like, there's something around here. I've been to Akihabara, which is Tokyo's electronics district, or in a lot of people's case, Otaku Paradise or Weeb Central. I do need to show Lazuli Akihabara, at least, because it's a place where you can find things, but because everyone goes to Akihabara, you're probably not going to find what you want.
Alright, we'll go to the right first.
Right?
Then it's another magic core.
I love dealing with things that look like they're from a Castlevania game. Oh! Don't mind me, I'm just getting zapped. I'm okay.
Another machine down.
We're breaking things and I love it.
It won't mean anything. You're too great. Doctor, begin the
Yeah.
But sir,
If there's something in here, that'd be great.
I gave an order. Now do it. Yes, sir.
Did you stock up
Well-
on food?
I have a near full inventory of food.
Okay, okay.
I'm just trying to hold out. There's gonna be weird ass foods around here somewhere. Okay, just kill everyone. Get dabbed on. you're poisoned, eh? Like, if you do go to Japan, right? I recommend deciding on the major places you're gonna check out. Like, I think because it's Leslie's first time going to Japan, I'm just gonna keep the location simple. Like, if you spend like roughly a week in each city, I think you're fine. Oh. Okay, yeah, I should probably eat. There we go. We're back in business. I would like to, you know, yeah, break this corp. I'm surprised to see cheerleaders in this place.
Let's go see if that big door's open now.
Come on in.
I'll eat that. Wait a minute. Something's not right here.
What do you mean?
He says he's ready. He had the Yakuza doctor do something to him.
Oh no, you're telling me that like the big bad that's, you know, at the top of the tower is gonna have like some sort of crazy final form? That'd be totally against the JRPG mold.
There's a salad. You got it?
I don't know.
Well, you did pick up the salad. And I picked up a salad. Sweet, we're at full health. Alright, what's down here? What is our threat? Oh,
it's the Yakuza guy! The criminal overlord, Sabu.
I never thought it would come to this, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to defend my family and my empire. Even if it means...
Who's the glowing dude? And why is he like super ripped?
Sabu, but augmented by something.
Your words have no effect on me. With this serum in my veins, my strength has been magnified to such a magnitude that...
You think it's the dark arts? Like that creepy Yamada kid?
I'm not sure, but it's definitely distracting. Maybe it's an old person thing?
You just explained
glow
it.
with magic?
Old people glow with magic.
I'm trying to tell you about my master plan. It's very impressive.
Very
If you
impressive
just listen for
exposition
2
here.
minutes.
We gotta listen for 2 minutes.
Like in the movies.
I saw a movie once. Lots of stuff did glow in it.
Oh, fine. Whatever. Let's just get this over with.
Well, yeah, if you've seen the movie, a lot of things glow in that movie.
Which movie?
Yeah, which one are we talking about? If it's Tron, I guarantee you 95% of the things are glowing in that movie. Oh, oh, that's the gimmick, eh? Okay. Listen, I already dealt with enough Super Saiyan beings. Okay. Wait, is he parrying every... Oh, no, he was just... Okay. Hide behind. Yeah! Oh, he's getting buff! Oh, really? We're doing this? It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Okay, has he become Mr... What was it? Mr. Negative? What is happening? Whoa!
Ow.
I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine.
No, not that one, because that one is like there's some of the boxes are like, you know, proper like,
Oh,
you know, like control, or not control, but proper metallic boxes, and some are just wood.
Fake. Okay, what is he? Oh, he's targeting me! What the heck was that? That was a cheap shot. Okay, we got him to third phase. Oh, what? Okay, wait a minute. Are you doing a freaking Final Fantasy summon? No, no, no. I'm not letting you perform Ultima again.
Alright.
Alright,
So
I'm healing myself.
Middle one.
And Mr. Negative over here is attacking me. Okay.
Middle one again.
Well, invisibility frames for most of that. Oh, he's... Oh!
Yeah, got him! Knowing our luck, this is round 1.
This is probably round 1. Yep, I knew it.
And now he's activated like a sword thingy-majiggy. Oh shit!
What the? What the heck is that?
That was a grab.
What? Let me guess. Die 1,000 deaths. Ricky, what are you, Akuma? Okay,
Far back.
If I can get up.
Nope.
Oh god, he's doing the fit.
Far back again.
Far back again. Okay, I got it.
There we go. And prepare for round 3.
How? No!
No, I chances.
This is impossible. I am unstoppable.
Sleeve.
Well, clearly that's not.
Oh, that's his tats.
At least that serum
Yeah,
seems to be wearing
tattoo
off.
sleeve. That's what they're called.
Yeah, you look a lot less glowy now, Mr. Sabu.
This is just the beginning. I will make it my life's mission to destroy you, your friends, and everyone you've ever loved. I know where you live. I know where your mother lives.
Oh, well, that's
What
uncalled
did he
for.
say about my mama?
Let's get this over with.
Oh, I thought I was gonna attack him.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna like have a round 3 and just start going bam, 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 bam.
Quiet! You will show the great Sabu and his family some respect before you die.
Hell yeah! Why is my guy like looking away nonchalantly? Everyone's like, you know, screaming, and he's just like, yeah. Oh, cool! We reached the end.
We reached the end.
Oh my god, there's so many floors. What the?
How many floors are we going through?
Does it? I can't see a number.
Well, the last boss, we actually threw them out the window. I didn't expect that we would send them through every floor.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
So, well, I do like River City Girls as a game since it's a homage, it's a spiritual successor to River City Ransom. Like, it's part of the Double Dragons thing as well. I do want it to play a beat 'em up with somebody, because if you do it by yourself, you get abused a lot.
Radio.
But if you do it with another player, because this is meant to be like an arcade style beat 'em up.
Yep.
You play with second person, we can get beaten up at the same time, but we can fight them. But you getting grabbed, oh, that was whack.
That, like, if I was playing by myself, that would probably be my death, and it's like, oh, I gotta go through the tower all over again. But because we were able to like work together and I had like food and such, I was like, right, cool, I can like, you know. So yeah, I was glad I was able to play this with you. So
Yeah, this is something like, I do have beat 'em up games that I do want to play with people. The problem is finding people. Tekken 8 has a storyline you two can play. I played the Tekken 6 story
I haven't played any
was
of the
bad.
Tekkens. I have played through Mortal Kombat 1 story, which honestly, that was the funniest shit. Like, Johnny, what's his name? Not Johnson, what's his name? Johnny Cage, that's it. Johnny Cage is just such a funny character, and I was like maining him, and I loved it. And then I went on to Street Fighter 6, made my own character. It's alright. I never finished Street Fighter 6 though.
Yep. I only played through Tekken 6's story just to unlock Devil Jin. That's it. That's the only way to get Devil Jin.
I feel like you've gone through the Tekken series, haven't you?
No, I have not. Like, I only played Tekken 6. I know what Tekken 1 and 2 and 3 are. They're basically on the PS1.
Hey, he went through all the floors at this
You know,
point.
I shouldn't have treated you so bad, Sabuko. I'm sorry about that.
Oh my
No.
god, is this what...
He's
I'm the one
either
who's
gonna
sorry.
land in the helicopter
Should've
or
been the mature
he's gonna break it.
No.
I think
it
he's
was
gonna
all
break
me.
it.
I started this whole stupid feud between us. I told Dad when you got beat up.
It takes a strong man to admit when he's made a mistake.
Now, as soon as Dad is done with those kids, we can get a new start as one big happy crime family.
Where is Father? I wouldn't have expected his battle to last this long.
Here he comes.
Clapped. Why would you turn me to a main Glaceon?
Well, that was an adventure. Yep. I think we all learned something, though. About friends
Did we?
and family and standing up for what you... Jeez, enough yapping!
I learned that beating people up for money is a good thing. In-game.
Ooh, get him! Punch that vampire! BP2 is so much better than the first game. Doorbell. I'll get it.
Oh yeah, we were all trying to buy a video game.
What are you two doing here?
Did you really think we'd miss
Oh my god, not these two.
Get up, losers.
Who are they?
For a rematch.
Oh, they are the love rivals.
Yeah, Sabu's beaten up. His empire's in ruins.
Yeah, these two are the love rivals for our boyfriends.
I told you we should have come straight here. Because you
From the first game.
Okay.
Smoothies on the way, Hasebe. You know I get low blood sugar, mommy. Looks like we beat.
Oh yeah, the reason why they're injured is because we beat them up in the first game.
I figured they were beaten up by us either at the start of the second game that I forgot or the first game.
Yeah, they're the secret boss in the first game.
Ah.
15k XP, which I don't... This doesn't help me, but it levels up my other characters all at once.
Yeah.
All those minutes seem to fly. Did you think of all the
And
Team
it brings us all the
Rockers
way back
blasting
here.
off again.
Yep.
Like, we still got roughly an hour left.
I mentioned this earlier, like, I was fine with us, like, just moving over to just sort of chatting and what have you with this in the background, and then just ending it early if need be. Because I know you and I are, like, you know, like you're a 3-hour kind of streamer, I'm a 4-hour kind of streamer, but I'm never one for, like, you know, mixing games within the one stream unless it's, like, a super long one.
Yep. So, the reason, well, you already know the reason why I'm a 3-hour streamer. It's because of my schedule. I can't fit 4 hours in without screwing it over badly.
Yeah. No, so.
Yeah, this is, I'm just gonna have this play in the background while on a lower volume.
Same here. I'm just having, like, something in the background, so. But yeah,
So,
it was good.
it was good. I enjoyed playing River City Girls 2. There's River City Girls 0, which is I don't know where it is on the timeline.
Probably a
but
prequel if it's called Zero.
Yeah, but it's weird because if it takes place before 1, the story doesn't make sense because of the I don't know. It's something I actually need to play. I have the physical copy.
If I Google River City Girls 0, I'm pretty sure it's going to tell me it's before the events of River City Girls 1. I have not played the River City series, but I'm going to be frank with you. Like, I've gone through Yakuza 0, and it's like, you know, River City Girls 0.
Yeah. There is also, when you have sequels of things and you make a prequel, I'm not sure exactly
Are you sure, River City? This seems like an entirely different game.
Yeah, like this is. Yeah, see what I mean? It's been localized as River City Girls 0. Because the English audience never got it till way later. Yeah, so it's one of those things of it's an old game.
Ketsu Koha. Shin.
It's just pretty much the River City games. It's and it combines Double Dragons in there. It's just all beat 'em ups.
Okay. Well, this is talking about one that was released in 1994. And then River City Renegade 93. So yeah, 93 for the Game Boy.
All the River City Girl games are fun.
This is it.
Yeah,
so,
I agree they're fun, Warhorse, because
chronologically set between Neketsu, Renegade, Kunokan, and Downtown Neketsu. So yeah, 1994 nonsense. And then we fast forward to, our game, which would have most likely have been...
I think 2020 something. Like River City Girls came out like probably 5.
River City Girls, yeah.
5 years
tough
ago or
guy,
something.
Kondo side story River City featuring as playable rescuing Kuno and Ricky under supervision. It was released as a physical call. Yeah, so this is like River City 0 is just it's definitely a prequel of like 20 plus years to this one.
Yeah, it's like it's all based around just River City is just a shit place to live in. All right,
River City Saga, Three Kingdoms next. Just and Journey to the West. Okay, so they're doing some featuring roguelike elements. Take on the Journey to the West, where all 4 protagonists are played by Kuno. Interesting.
Yeah, it's great. Like River City Girls and these sort of games, they follow the concept of, as I said, this is something you would play with people in person to get the full experience. Imagine just everyone just yelling at the screens like, freaking kill him, or freaking why am I dying, or, typical stuff that pisses you off.
Okay.
It goes back to, like, I want to have, the ability to have, like, a LAN party, alright? Like, a physical LAN party where everyone's just there in person. You got people doing their own thing, like, they're taking a break, having turns. It's like how I used to go to my friend's place back in the day, and we did Halo Reach LAN parties. Someone would bring their Xbox, another person would bring their Xbox. You got, like, 8 players. Like, we have different, like, 2 TVs set up. It's insane.
Well,
and then someone gets pissed off that I keep assassinating them.
Hang on, I'm just doing something on the fly really quick while you do all this. So figure react through, get transformation, and then I'll do another one because I'm gonna make you just a teensy bit. Okay, not that. Actually, I'm gonna make it so that. Oop, nope. I'm gonna make you like yay big, so then that way you're not in the way of like me and what have you. And then.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see you're fixing that.
There we go. Bam, boom. Get transformation. So yeah, so the idea is that standard size.
Standard size that'll work.
So
I think
that way I can like swap between like when it's just us like conversing, and there doesn't need to be like something properly in like the background or what.
Oh wait, no. Actually, it's playing the DLC cutscene when I don't own the DLC.
Yeah, I don't own the DLC as well. I just simply turned off the source and what have you, and closed the game. So the Switch will turn itself off in like 60 minutes or something like that. But no one's gonna figure that But yeah, with your speaking of like LAN parties and such like that, like I reckon maybe not LAN parties because those ones work well with people that have either you already have the resources for like playing the games on cross multiple machines, or people have a means of transporting the machines. Moving computers state lines is not a fun adventure to do.
No, it's
So-
not. But the main thing behind these LAN parties is it's based around console gaming. Usually you go to the friend's house that has the console. You play games. You order a pizza or something, or bring food, get food ordered.
I think what you want to try and do, because I'll be frank with you, this like there's a friend of mine in that I've met through unnamed like servers and what have you called Jenna the Giant, and she organizes with other furries a retreat. So basically there's all these furries all around the United States or something, and what they do is they get themselves an Airbnb to some random place in the US or in Canada, and they just hang out. And this is like a large party of people, like 10 or 12 people. So it's very much a case of like, oh yeah, like it's fun going to fur cons and what have you, but more often than not, you've experienced this at fur cons where, quite frankly, it does just turn into a, hey, it's like us 4 groups or us 6 people coming together. So then there's like all 10 of us or something like that. I reckon something that you might want to enjoy, I would very much want to see something like this happen as well, is meeting up in like Melbourne. Like I know, like I think Mudasaur did this with some random peeps of like you meet up with people for either a camping trip or an Airbnb or something like that. And you hang out. And then that way it's like, because one, yes, it is fun to like meet people new and familiar at FurCons, but at the same time, like sometimes you just like, maybe there's like some big event, like, an IMAX screening of something or some sort of like, Hallmark event, and that's not related to furry fandom and such, but you do want your furry friends involved. Like just organizing something like that.
It's a thing of I want actual friendship. All right, it doesn't involve the fandom and all. A lot of the problems that come from this is people are just completely far out. Like they're too far away. Yeah, a lot of the time, like between you and I, we both live in different states.
That is true.
Even if we chose to do the compromise and meet in the middle, I don't think we want to go to Sydney.
What are you talking about? We can also go to Like, what's wrong with Sydney or Melbourne?
Sydney's shit. Melbourne. Melbourne.
These are very like strong opinions here. It's just like yeah, cool, Grant, I'm your friend, but I ain't fucking traveling to Sydney for you.
Yeah, because you need okay, me being Victorian at heart, I don't like Sydney. And I've been to Sydney, okay? I can actually vouch for this. Sydney is a mess of a city to be in from just driving around. It's Spaghetti Junction. Like, if you miss a turn somewhere, you are going to drive 15 minutes to come all the way back around again. There's tolls everywhere. There's legit a lot of tolls compared to Brisbane and Melbourne.
Then we just don't go to Sydney the city. We go for like New South Wales, like up north or inland west.
The tolls still go that far too.
I feel like that's a made up thing. That's a drop bear story. That's a drop bear story if ever I heard. It's like, oh yes, they have the tolls all the way out west inland.
You'll be surprised, like, how much of a pain in the ass to go around Sydney. It's a real pain in the ass.
Inner city Sydney has no tolls. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to my girlfriend Artemis Net. But yeah, like, point is, it doesn't like. You and I, like people in the furry fandom and such, it's one thing to like, all of us go together to a furry con, like, Furdu or Aurora and such like that. But I reckon there could come a time, and depending on your like circle of friends, like for instance, me and Artemis, like, we want to go to the Melbourne Ren Fair next year. I don't know how we would do this, but we want to go to this thing. We need to figure out, like, when tickets are opened up, how we're going to stay there. And, the fact of the matter is that it's going off in, like, Melbourne. There's Melbourne furries. There's probably going to be a chance that we'll be able to see Melbourne furries, such as Code the Yoshi and what have you. So, like, that's one way where it's like, it's not furry exact to, like, hang out, like, con-wise, but there's a chance to meet other furries. I feel like that is a small step. And, like, before you know it, there might be a circle of friends where we'll be like, hey, fuck it. Let's go. Yarravari is so not Melbourne proper. Yeah, okay.
The Yarra Valley is far out. It's not in metropolitan Melbourne exactly. But the thing of finding, it's more like you're trying to find out which furs are in Melbourne rather than saying, oh, these are the Melbourne furs.
Yeah. So
yeah, because what you're trying to say is that, oh, we can hang out with Melbourne furs. I'm like, all right, who's a Melbourne fur?
We could hang out with other furs. It doesn't need to be in Melbourne. The point is that the first step of, like, other like state furries and such like that is like, yeah, you go to a fur con because everyone wants to congregate to that and such. But there will, like, depending on the level of friendship and such, especially from, like, my experience of, like, the furries that I've met in the US and such, there, and just the way my family has kind of come together for extended family, what have you, you can then also meet up for just events that are not related to furries. Like, hear me out.
Yeah.
Would you, like, is your relationship with your family, like, stable enough where you could be like, I'm doing a Christmas vacation with my partner and other people's friends.
Why are you turning into a cupcake? Okay. So here's the thing, right? Since I'm no longer with the main family, a lot of their plans have changed too. They're just going out doing their own thing, all right?
Okay.
Yeah, but it's to the point where instead of us being the hosts, we go to somewhere else instead. And personally, I don't want to drag them into this sort of thing. Because the way that your family and my family grew up, we have different connections in how we spend time.
Oh yeah, and also just how comfortable we are with, like, travel and what have you, because I doubt you have gone through the experience of every 2 years making an international trip for something like Christmas or Easter.
Like, I would choose not to do that due to certain things, all right? Obviously,
he says this while planning to go to Japan again.
Yeah, but the last time I've been somewhere internationally was 2019.
Okay. Long while.
A long while. But my stance is everyone's got different commitments to things. I'm trying to save up for a bloody house, so that's why I am being strict with what I can attend and can't attend.
Yeah, okay.
And also abandoning or reducing certain hobbies.
Look,
it's one of those tough situations of I'm saying, like, this might be a bit of a bullet for some of you people, but you gotta make sacrifices to get what you want. In the the overall want, not the I'm going to this because of this or whatever. Like, I've also noticed that cons in general have been getting more expensive to go to from just the admission to get in. Like Supernova, AvCon, what other generic cons out there? Like PAX has gone up in price. Comic-Con, Comic-Con has gone up in price. I'm thinking of, like, Melbourne cons, like Animaga and all that. But I want to partake in those things more, but it's becoming that point of, damn, this is getting really hard. Yeah.
Probably
but-
why it would be a good idea to then move away from, con organized groupings and events to instead, social gathering, like, personal driven. So then that way it's like, number one, you get to dictate the day or time that everyone meets up. So rather than doing it during like a terrible time in the year where like everyone is probably busy with something critical at the start, and you can do it during like, the off season. So for instance, like maybe during like, June, like, during like, mid-July or later in August when, all the kids are back in school, but it's like during the winter and such, you go on to like a trip where it's like, oh yeah, we don't have too many people go to this thing because it's winters for some bullshit.
Yeah, but due to everyone on a different path of life, this is a thing I've also have noticed as well. Not everyone is gonna be available. You'll be lucky to get 30% of the people you want. A lot of the time, the reason why I base things around the cons is because everyone has a essential plan of what they can do. Like they might not attend the con itself, or they will
I
say,
feel like people planning around the con is because of peer pressure of everyone is at the con. It's like it's this weird mental like, loop of like, oh, I should go to the con because everyone is going to the con. And it's like, why is everyone going to the con? Well, because I'm going to the con. It's like it's that kind of a loop. We need to break out of that programming though.
Yeah, but my example is of us, you and I said, hey, I'm free on Monday after the con's over. Do you want to hang out? And I said this, was it months ago?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we got the plan to work. Like I'm working around the con, but the con is already like whatever. I'm in the post-con stage, and I'm still around.
Exactly.
Yeah. So a lot of people would, I think now, mental, a lot of things I would take when it comes to organizing around the cons is obviously the plans before the con, the plans during the con, and then plans after the con. Because a lot of the times, I think further this year, a lot of people were actually hanging around post-con.
Okay.
They were just, a lot of people hanging out post-con. They were just either meeting up with people that they couldn't meet up with, or they said, oh, I'm staying up here for a while. Do you want to do stuff?
Okay.
Like pre-con, I know that people actually flew up on Wednesday. Yeah, some people fly up Wednesday, so I can understand, like, they can get rid of the, that sort of jet lag, like, not exact jet lag, but you know what I mean.
I know. Well, here's the thing: is that the fact of the matter is that people want to try and avoid the hotel, like the lobby con of like coming in on like say a Friday, because that's just a terrible idea to try and get like because if you've like traveled for like 4 hours on a flight and it's like, oh hey, welcome to the hotel, and you're waiting like another hour for the elevator and it stops at like every floor by the time you finally do get into the elevator, like I can imagine a lot of people just being like, nah, fuck it, I'm getting in here a day ahead of time so I don't have to deal with that nonsense.
Yeah, I will always arrive on a Thursday.
Mhm.
I always arrive a day prior to the con. I think, but for PAX, I'm arriving on Wednesday, because I want to go to the Queen Victoria Market, night market event that's every Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm fitting that time in. Plus, I don't have to take another day off. I can just go to work, leave early, and then just fly out and say, fuck all of yous.
Nice. Interesting planning.
Yeah, because I work 6 to 2, so...
Lucky bastard.
Yeah, 6 to 2, so
Actually,
I actually have a lot of...
not lucky, because then you have to get to work like you're getting out of the place before 6. I hate that.
Yeah, I actually leave the house around 5, but I wake up around 4:30.
So wait, like if you need your 8 hours of sleep, hang on. Like, so minimum 7 hours of sleep, and you gotta wake up by 4 o'clock. That means like going.
So technically, I should be going to bed around 8:30, 8 to 8:30, but I've been getting by on 7.
Okay, that's not good. You need to be getting to bed by now. You need to, like, start unwinding.
Cricket, what are you calling me, old man?
It's not being called an old man. It's called being responsible with your time. So then that way you keep yourself in a good health so you don't compromise your immune system, your mental capacity, your hair, your nails, your teeth. There's a lot of good reasons.
This is why I only do 3-hour streams, because of this nonsense. If I stream earlier, it means I get less break time when I come back from work. Which is not good. Looking at myself, we just clocked 4 to 5 hours sleep every night. Freaking Jack's worse than both of us, alright?
Yeah, well, Jack's not here in the VCE for us, and what's more is I can very much have us derail over towards finishing up tonight's stream so you can go to bed earlier.
The whole point of it is, okay, my travel time was originally way better, but because of stupid local government and state government roadworks all over the place that's been going for like a year and a half, it has increased my time to like 45 minutes instead of 30.
Ouch. So
instead of me taking an hour of travel each day, it's now taking me like an hour 30, I think. Yeah, an hour 30. So you can see why I'm kind of pissed.
Just a bit.
Yeah, so yeah, this is why I state to people I can't stream late, or I can stay up later. I used to work from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. But then a lot of the time I miss out on you.
Yep.
And Jack tries to keep me around. I try to also keep Jack around, but I end up being the one staying up late. So it's kind of bad for everybody.
Yeah, no, I'll be frank with you. Between waking up early or finishing like super late, I think I would pick the waking up early, honestly, between the two.
Yeah, 100%. My previous workplace, I would start at 7, finish at 3, so that's fine. But my travel time to work was less than 20 minutes.
Yeah, my work is 8. Like, I've opted for an 8 to 4 time, and that was just because of, like, you know, university way back when. But that was like 9 years ago. But I just stuck to, like, you know, 8 to 4 all this time, and it only takes me like 25, 30 minutes to get to work, and that is on a train. I don't have to watch the roads. I get to view TikTok safely. Can you look at TikToks while you're driving to work, Blue?
That's illegal.
So that's a no. You won't be looking at TikToks while you're traveling to work.
But I'm allowed to listen to things, all right?
So am I. I have headphones.
I just blast my music in my car.
As much. Well.
Plus, if I feel like I need to get something, I can just drive there. Easy.
It's a moving sardine can, let's be honest. Au contraire, as written by the piece of shit Elon Musk, if you can somehow avoid traffic, you are a god of the roads. And let me tell you, as a train goer, I do avoid the traffic. I am a god in the eyes of Elon Musk's warped judgment for taking a train. And not only that, it's a train that is only 50 cents. Can you argue that your car, after paying for gas and the rego and such like that you're traveling on less than 50 cents an hour?
At least I can go to farmers markets out of my way.
Changing the rules on me like that, being like, ooh, but
what
about the farmers market? What about places that are not on the train line?
What about like, oh, I'm gonna go home. I have my own freaking form of transport. I don't have to worry about missing the train
Ah,
and waiting like an additional 15 to 20 minutes, depending on where you are or what time it is,
the
or
train's still a
you've
moving
messed up and
sardine.
missed the last train. Yeah, I've seen people miss the last train. Like while I was in Melbourne, I always strictly stated I need to be out of the city by 9
Mm-hmm.
because that's when all the weird people start showing up,
Rightio. Well then, I
like the
reckon.
essays and all that.
Well, I reckon on that note that we should probably go and raid out so we don't get any of the weird people at the late hours and you get to have a good night's sleep instead of staying up late. What do you
Well,
think?
well, that'd be great. Let's see who we can find. Look, the GrantZeebs is streaming.
Oh my gosh, GrantZeebs is streaming. What a coincidence. I can see Blue Foxy and Icy is streaming.
So, I know that I guided the raid, you guided the raid. Are we looking for anything particular in terms of? Are we looking for art? Are we looking for gaming? Are we looking for people getting pissed off at the FIFA World Cup?
I don't know about anyone getting pissed off at the FIFA World Cup, but let's
I know people getting pissed off at the FIFA World Cup.
Do you have a channel of someone getting pissed off at the FIFA World Cup right now?
Well, no, that's not something I want to raid into. Because there's a lot of controversy behind what is it? You know how you send a team to represent your country, and when they come home, they're either gonna get abused or they're gonna get praise. It's one of those things. I think Uruguay, their football federation just straight up just cancelled their team's flights back home, so all the players have to make their own way back.
How does this help us find a raid target?
It doesn't help at all. I have some options.
All right. Who you
I have
got?
some Okay, let's see. Well, I reckon. Okay, so there's someone playing Monster Hunter Wilds by the name of Chaotic Hefe. We also got someone streaming Kingdom Hearts. Oh god. Oh man. We got someone streaming Minecraft. And I see someone streaming art.
I've got a few people streaming art,
Yeah.
but no faces I recall. We stream at a weird hour where there's barely anyone that you and I are familiar with streaming at this time.
I have a good plan. I have a good person to raid.
You have a person now? All right.
Yeah, I have a person. So they go by. Yes, keep telling them happy affiliate anniversary.
Hi,
keep telling them that.
Welcome, welcome. We're just finishing up with our stream and are going to be going off raiding. Who are we going into?
So there is someone by the name of Panic Fennec. There's someone that was at the Twitch panel for Furdu, and they're gonna do another Twitch panel at Aurora. So they're actually trying to, talk about streaming, how to help yourself, help your viewers, how to grow and all this other stuff. And they actually been going around to people asking, like, they have asked me before, even though I said I'm not going to Aurora.
All right. Well, there's always the VTuber, like, meet and greet thing, if Mudasaur remembers to host that for Aurora.
Yeah.
All right, so you could always be involved with that. But yeah, do you have a name? Because if
Panic Fennec, Panic Fennec.
All right, Panic Fennec. Let me just. Is Panic just as it's spelt? PANIC?
Yes, and then Fennec, as in the species of fox, as spelt.
They're right now streaming VR chat.
Yep.
Alrighty then. We'll go with that. What's our raid message? Because like my brain is just empty and just being like, let's go with Himbo raid.
Himbo raid, because it's our this is our final collab stream for this series.
we did it, Blue. Ooh, the River City is saved.
Wait, what is a dumb thing to say during the monologue? Like, I'm pretty sure you can figure out something that's dumb.
I'll be quite honest with you, Blue. I'm already committed to we did it, Blue. Ooh, River City is saved. And parentheses 2.
We saved it twice.
Yeah, and then you can write, we did it, Grant. River City is saved, parentheses 2.
For a while. We did. Yeah, we'll go with that.
And then I'll just go with my emoji. So yeah, you go with, and then so for viewers on my side, we're gonna say we did it, Blue. River City is saved. And then for viewers on your side, they should be like, we did it, Grant. River City is saved.
Two.
Two.
Yeah, two. We're gonna go with that.
Nice.
As a raid message.
Yeah. Alrighty then, chat. I'm gonna hit the start raid button, so then that way we can do the quick countdown.
Yep.
That
we'll do a quick countdown for that. Let's do our goodbyes. I'll quickly do mine.
Yep.
So I'd like to thank everyone who followed, gave bits, gave subs. Thank you to Badger for the raid earlier. I appreciate it. Also, thank you to GrantZeebs for collabing me on this project.
Yeah. Is that your farewells?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Fine. All right. Thank you. Well, I'm gonna say thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I greatly appreciate it. Blue, thank you for collaborating with me through the River City Girls 2, and we got it to complete together. I greatly appreciate it. You will find that the schedule is slightly different. There won't be a Sunday stream. Instead, there will be a stream as usual on the Wednesday as we go through Uncharted 3, and then Friday is our classic Final Fantasy 14. Blue, when's the next time people might find you streaming?
Well, you will find me streaming on Friday while I'll be playing more Cooking Mama 3.
Nice.
And then followed by Xenoblade Chronicles on the weekend. Here, I linked my socials for Blue Sky. Get off my throne. Blah, blah, blah. We better get out of here. We're about to raid out.
You all have a nice morning, afternoon, evening, night, wherever you are. And hopefully, if I don't see you all Wednesday, I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.
Take care, everyone. Goodbye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.